What up, what up? Welcome to the Spar-Inn Boxing Radio Podcast. I have a very special guest with me. It is not Fossil. It is Jamal.
What's going on, man?
Much more jacked than Fossil. Much more jacked with Fossil. A.K.A. Mr. Intensity.
I got to tell you, man, you told me about the place, but I love the setup. It's spectacular. I love it. You did a great job.
Thank you.
I know you're still doing work, and it's a work in progress, but from what I'm seeing now, it's phenomenal.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is my baby. This is literally my baby.
This is dope. This is the perfect man cave.
We watch fights down here. Everything's throw up proof. I know you don't drink. I was making a drink, and he was like, "What is that?" I was like, "It's amino acids, man. It's amino acids."
If that's the case, I'll take a sip.
Yeah. But speaking of amino acids, let's talk a little bit about your supplement company.
Uh-huh.
I know about it, but for the followers that are following, I have a weird California following. Not weird. You guys aren't weird. You guys are great. But I have a California following, and Intensity Labs, right?
Yes,
correct.
Intensity Labs.
Well, tell them about yourself first. Your background before we get into that.
All right. So I'm a guy that I used the gym to help me get scholarships for sports and just, raise my level of gameplay and fighting as well. And in all the years, I got a master's in exercise physiology. I got a master's in holistic nutrition. Just everything that I needed to do to be better at making the human body perform, I tried to study, right? And in the process, for years, I've always wanted to come up with a little bit of a pre-workout, some supplements, and I made formulas, but I never moved forward with it. And a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about COVID, and I do as well, but one of the positive things is I had time. So during that time, I was able to move forward with opening up this company and dropping the products. So we have a pre-workout, we have a multivitamin, we have a cleanse.
Which I love. The multivitamin I'm on.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I love to hear that. I love all the feedback,
Yeah.
I haven't had much negative, so, I'm loving the fact that I'm just getting nothing but positive feedbacks with everything. So makes me feel good,
I'm a huge pre-workout guy as well. Obviously, I've tried yours. I've tried them all, but with pre-workouts with me, there's so many. I just keep trying them. So it's like and yours is up there.
Bounce around.
Yours is up
there. You got to bounce around a little bit. Yeah. And I don't have a huge name in the supplement industry as yet. So I made that pre-workout pretty strong, so that once you try it, at least I know you going back to the bigger companies with the name like a C4 and Redcon and stuff like that. You're not going to feel a single thing. You know, I'm kind of trying to steal it like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a way more expensive product. I'm not trying to make more money. I'm actually making less money, but I just need the product to hit. I need it to do what it says it's going to do. And that was my main goal. And it's doing a great job.
And we can only speak for Long. Well, you know more than me, obviously, but I can only speak for Long Island, in and out of the supplement stores and everything, in and out of gyms. And all your supplements, honestly, are Long Island wise are booming, probably bigger than you expected.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
the greens and the collagen as well.
I
didn't know. I was a little skeptical on going with collagen and
the taste, right?
And the cleanse.
Okay.
So I was a little skeptical on it. But you know what? As many athletes as I work with, and how my clients, a lot of my regular clients that I've had for ages, some of them over 20 years, the way they I do a juice cleanse at the start of every season.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? I can always pull in my clients here and there to do the same. So I was like, you know what? Let me move forward with the cleanse and see if it works. And that was the first thing that sold out. The cleanse sold out within a couple of months.
Really?
I couldn't even believe it. And I have yet to redrop the cleanse, but I plan to within the next few months.
Okay.
It's a phenomenal supplement.
And so speaking of that, this is obviously a boxing podcast, and we're going to get into that with a certain fighter you train who probably could use a few cleanses.
He can.
He's a big boy.
Yeah,
he's a big boy.
He is a big dude.
And we'll get there in a second. But with the cleanses, does that help you lose weight with that, or is it just
more so for gut health?
Okay.
And clean out your intestines.
Okay.
That's pretty much what it is. But you it's just like the juice cleanses that I do to start every season. The reason I do that, I don't do it for overall health, like physical health. I do it for mental health. I do it to show mental strength, right? Fortitude.
Okay.
So if I'm going to eat 8 times a day on a regular basis, now all of a sudden I'm going to cut that food out and all I'm going to have is water and a couple of green juices throughout the day. Obviously, it's a lot more strategic, not just a couple of green juices, but I'm not going to, dive into that. But it takes a lot of mental to get through that time, those 3 to 5 days, depending on how hard you want to do it. I always go for the 5, but it's all mental, And at that point, you realize when you come off of the cleanse, I don't need all the little, bullshit foods that I'm eating, the nonsense that I may snack on here and there. And, some people have issues, which this helps a lot, late night eating.
Yeah. You're looking
I'm
at
getting through and I'm feeling good. I don't need these chips at night. I don't need this snack at night. I don't need, you know what I mean?
No.
I don't need to graze as often as I've been grazing. And, if I'm trying to just raise overall health and wellness, it starts with your mind.
100%.
100%.
Mental strength is huge, and we're going to get into that as well with regards to the fighters that you train. And just to name a few of the non-boxing guys, I mean, you had Chris Weidman.
A lot of MMA guys, yeah.
Yep, Chris Weidman. And MMA is kind of, I don't want to say bigger than boxing, but like more popular amongst
you see way more MMA
gyms
fights
popping
matches,
up
gyms,
even
than you do boxing. It is a booming sport.
Of course.
Is it as lucrative? I would say no.
Harder or easier? What's your opinion?
I think it's
two separate sports.
It's definitely two separate things, but I do think it's harder. Like, okay, the reason I feel that, say, someone like Jarrell Miller is good.
That's who he's training.
Is because he used to be a heavyweight kickboxer.
Yep.
When you're a kickboxer, you have to worry about not only punches, but you got to worry about elbows, knees, and kicks.
Yeah.
Right? So the way you look at your opponent, having your opponent in front of you, the way you move, it's a lot more to defend against.
100%.
Okay. Now, granted, you have more in your arsenal as well, but it's a lot more to defend against.
Mm-hmm.
So now, take away 6 of those things, and I'm only having someone try to attack me with 2.
Yeah.
Just their hands. Makes you feel a little more comfortable. So a lot of people will come in to train with me for boxing, for conditioning and stuff, and I'll just be like, look, they'll be like, oh, wow, there's nothing better than this. I'm like, well, kickboxing's harder.
This.
And then you mix in MMA where it's kickboxing and the ground game and the takedowns and the wrestling and the jiu-jitsu. So I feel like it's different completely, but you have to be like, how they call boxing the sweet science of boxing?
Yeah.
Right? You got to be a full-blown warrior when you're doing MMA. You got to have a warrior mentality in boxing, but in MMA, you got to not only have like actual skill, but you got to be a savage as well.
So let me ask you this then, because I agree. I disagree with certain parts of what you said.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with the like you said, you have to focus on everything.
Yeah.
But I feel like where the boxing is a little different is their expertise in that one field where they're advanced, way more advanced than per se a kickboxer. Not all, but most at the top level, the top level. Why is it that it appears anyway, and not all, but in the fights that we see, the crossover fights and whatnot, that MMA guys or UFC guys in particular, because those are the ones that are getting the crossover fights, seem to not have the cardio and stuff as a boxer, a pro boxer?
Well, what helps a lot of people with cardio is feeling comfortable. True. So let's say I'm a kickboxer or I'm a wrestler, right? Or I'm a jiu-jitsu artist. I get in and I can only use my hands, but I know my feet are better. I know my takedowns are better.
Yep.
Now I'm already on edge because I can't use my strength.
Back to the mental.
Right? So now here we are. He's dictating the pace.
Yeah.
And nobody is winning a fight if their opponent can dictate the pace.
No.
Sorry.
True.
It's just not going to happen.
True.
Right? I mean, yes, there's some great fighters that can fight going backwards, but that's your style.
Yep.
There's a difference. That means you're dictating the pace.
Mm-hmm.
He may think he is, but you really are. There's a difference, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times you get the guys that come in there and it's more their nerves. Take for instance, we're going to bring in boxing and you want to touch on that point. Think about George Foreman.
Mm-hmm.
When George Foreman came back, right, and he was older, they said, how are you so much bigger, but your cardio and endurance is so much better? He says, I won't say that my cardio and endurance is better. I'm just more comfortable in the ring.
Yeah. It's a valid point.
That's all it is. It's all about
Valid
comfort.
point.
So if you take away my comfort level, I'm going to fatigue very fast.
At that level, 100%.
So take now jiu-jitsu, for instance, right? You have to basically you're going to have somebody choking you to put you to sleep. Your objective, the initial objective to get out, is to just make sure you can find a smidget of air. And you need to find comfort in that discomfort.
And that,
you understand?
I'd be dead.
And the moment you can do that, you now become a better jiu-jitsu artist.
100%.
So if I take away where you're comfortable and put you in an area with millions of people, a lot of money on the line, with an expert in a skill that you're not comfortable, 100% comfortable in.
You know, you're right, and I never really thought of it that way, and that's why we're
nerves,
talking to you.
You get anxious. There's something with fighters called an adrenaline dump.
100%. But Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor is a perfect example of that, where Conor said after, and whatever, forget about all the antics outside of the ring, but Conor was like, oh, he was in my chest the whole time. I never experienced that.
Yes,
I never experienced
exactly.
that, and he just made him uncomfortable in the later rounds, obviously.
Yeah.
Started working. So, yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of it that way.
And another thing is, a lot of times, people in MMA can feel like they have that one-punch knockout power, and a lot of people do. Like, they really do, genuinely. But when you're fighting in MMA and you have on those gloves,
so that's
as opposed to putting on a boxing glove, sometimes it just doesn't roll over. You saw the big uppercut that Conor McGregor landed on Mayweather.
Yeah, and he ate it. The left hand, all I was hearing in the build, I've talked about it before, the left hand from hell, the power.
And it did nothing.
Nothing.
And meanwhile, Conor McGregor's a bigger dude. You know,
stronger.
Technically
I'd say stronger,
right? And he caught him flush.
Clean. Nice uppercut.
It didn't stumble him, stymie him, or anything. He just kept coming forward. Now, if that was an MMA fight with MMA gloves,
100%,
he probably would have put him to sleep.
Dead.
Like, look what he did to Jose Aldo, right? That was more so Aldo's aggressiveness coming forward. So the power and the weight and the torque of him lunging at him.
Yeah.
That wasn't a big shot.
No, it was time.
It was more Aldo's energy that got him knocked
perfect
out.
timing, perfect leverage, and
So it's not about it. Just doesn't correlate sometimes. You know, like you get Ngannou. He's a big, strong dude. He's probably extremely heavy-handed, no matter what.
Yeah.
And I do think the knockdown with Tyson Fury, it was a punch that just listen, anybody stands a puncher's chance. I hate to hear, there's nothing I hate more than for two people to go into a fight and somebody says, oh, that guy got lucky. How did he get lucky?
No.
They both were fighting.
Yeah.
They both knew they were fighting. Nobody got snuffed. They're throwing punches. One landed, the next did. Where's the luck?
They both know that.
Trained.
They both know that could happen. That so-called luck could happen. They both know that.
So, and so I think he got caught, and I don't think he was expecting him to be as powerful.
No.
I don't think he. Listen, I spoke to Joseph Parker last week when I was in London.
So yeah, he was in London. Just for my audience, real quick, he was in London. It's Jarrell Miller, Big Baby Miller's strength and conditioning coach / coach in general, and he texted me. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in London. I can't do the recording this tonight or whatever the date we had set up was. So we're gonna get into the whole London saga too. I hope you got a long time. We'll chop this.
Don't worry about it.
We're gonna get going. We're gonna get going. It's that pre-workout. But what Joseph Parker said?
He says he helped Tyson Fury for that camp. He said Tyson Fury had a great camp.
So it was true. He said Tyson Fury did. Yeah. So, wow, that's props to Ngannou then. Huge props. Because everyone, by the looks of the way he performs, like, no, he didn't train.
Yeah, so, that's what he said. And I think, listen, when you get a big, powerful guy, some people, it doesn't matter if you have a boxing glove on or no glove.
No.
And he caught Tyson good enough.
Yep.
And it put him down.
So I was getting a lot of shit, for lack of a better term, because I was like, I think Fury won that fight either way, and I wasn't taking anything away from Ngannou.
Okay, well, if I'm going to say this, you got
in the scoring of boxing,
fans,
in the scoring of boxing,
exactly. But if you break it down, let's say you have two different style fighters, you got a Floyd Mayweather, and you got a Mike Tyson. If you love to see Mike Tyson fight, you ain't gonna love Floyd Mayweather.
Yes,
if you love Floyd Mayweather,
it's a valid point.
You're gonna say Muhammad Ali was better than Mike. You're not gonna have the same look and outlook and views on those fighters the same way, right? So The same way you look at a fighter, you're looking at boxing, and you see a guy that's the aggressor, and he knocks down the opponent. He only knocked him down in one round. So if that's a 10-8 round, that's great for him. But if he loses the next 6 straight rounds, he's
that's
losing
what I
the
think
fight.
happened. Yeah,
That's exactly what it is. You
Of
know what I
course.
mean? No matter what. So it's still a scorecard. So put it this way. Let's say that in an MMA fight, you win the first round. You knocked the dude down in the first round, almost knocked him out, had ground and pound. He was saved by the bell. And he comes out and only jabs you, right, for the next 4 rounds, but you have no arsenal that can defend the jab, and he wins the second, third, fourth, and fifth round. As boring as it may be, it's a 5-round fight. There's a scorecard for a reason.
Yeah.
He won 4 rounds. You only listen. Like George St. Pierre is my homeboy. Love him to death, man. Great dude. Towards the later part of his career, he had a superb jab. He worked on it great. He kept himself out of harm's way, but it got to the point where sometimes watching him fight was boring. Right?
Yeah.
Now what? But he won. So
So-
you'll see other guys fighting him and not getting the win, and they're like, yo, what the hell? Well, you only won 2 out of the 5 rounds.
exactly. So there was just
Even though you damaged him really well in those 2, he still won the 3.
Shakur Stevenson just fought, and he's in all the news right now, and that was that was an abnormally boring fight, and he did win in my opinion, but
He did win.
it was super boring. Like that was too boring almost.
You know what you just got a glimpse of is what it's going to be if he fights Tank.
Yeah, I think
It's
worse,
exactly what it
almost worse if he fights.
He
Tank.
was more so worried about that man's power.
Yep. They say he was hurt. He said, and I looked up the numbers. I guess his left hand, and it was true. I'm a lefty. When is the southpaw only? I think it was 20 lefts in a 12-round fight. Which
The whole fight, the 105 punches.
yeah, that's like broke records for the most boring fight. And I was pissed because I was actually at a bar, and I got them. It was after Thursday night football. I got them to put on boxing on every TV, and there's people coming in to watch it, which you don't see that often on the lesser fights on a Thursday night.
On a Thursday night.
And so it worked.
Yes.
ESPN's plan and Top Rank's plan to promote him worked, and then he does that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the fight before it was amazing, but that was still on when the NFL was on, and you can't compete with the NFL. And I was just like, come on, man, are you kidding me?
I know. It's sad because you get a guy, and he's good. You get a guy who talks.
Oh, he talks
and sells
crazy.
the fight, and then comes out and does something like
Yeah.
that. He needs to redeem himself the next time he comes out. Not that he did something wrong. If he was hurt, I get it. He didn't make an excuse. You know,
Yep.
if he was worried,
I liked he apologized. He's done
yeah,
it
he
before,
said,
but he says, listen,
it wasn't a great showcase of my skills, and it was not the way I wanted to go. I get it. It's cool.
Yep.
But you just got to remember, if you're going to be the draw, the crowd can't be booing you, man.
No.
Like, no matter what.
He
You know what I'm
does,
saying?
and he tends to get booed. But here's another thing too. Devin Haney, he's also been booed at his own fights.
Yeah.
So it's like he's not getting the same hate that Shakur is. So it's kind of weird, and his resume is a little better. But speaking of talking, when you said talking, let's just get right into it.
Yes.
One of the better talkers, lots of talking.
Yep.
He's back in the headlines, and you mentioned him already.
Yeah.
Jarrell, Big Baby Miller, and I was watching that press conference. I was actually at work, but I'm watching it on my phone.
was
And I'm
fun,
like,
right?
man, this is boring. What the
Boring
hell?
as shit,
Boring
right?
as shit. It was like a
Oh,
Shakur. It
my
was
God.
Shakur's fight. It's like,
I was like,
this
this shit is
and it's
boring
all
as
these
hell.
big names, and I'm like, it's clearly
Listen, that's a huge card, man.
massive card.
That card is
Massive
stacked.
card.
That's probably one of the biggest cards in, man, I can't tell you how long.
For not having a belt, no belts on there either, no belts on the line, no championship fights. That is
That
a
is crazy.
massive card. And that Jarrell's on it. Jarrell Miller's on it. And I'm going to give a take real quick, and we're going to get into it. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for it, whatever. All hate is good. Jarrell has a checkered past, right? We're not going to get into the details of what happened. You
Yeah.
could Google it, look it up. Every fighter has a checkered past if you really want to
Of course.
dive deep into it. Jarrell did get, I guess it's a third chance technically in pro boxing because of the two times before that. Like I said, we're not going to speak on, but we have to touch on it a little bit.
Yeah, we will. That's fine.
Listen, don't hate the player, hate the game is where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
This man Jarrell is on a massive card, right? And why is it?
Huge.
Because he's entertaining.
Exactly.
It's because he's entertaining, and he can fight. He can fight.
He's good. He's entertaining.
And he literally stole the show in that press conference.
If it wasn't for him, if I was a not so much of an avid boxing fan, and I was just one of those people who just
didn't know anything.
If boxing
Didn't know.
on,
Didn't just like,
I'll watch.
Look at these
but
big
I don't
dudes.
go out of my way.
Yeah,
I wouldn't watch that card. If they let it go on the way if you took Jarrell out and let that energy move the way it was moving, they would have gotten no views.
Deontay Wilder suddenly got mature. I don't know what that
he's giving props.
He's like a nice guy. I'm like,
okay, buddy,
that's good,
but that's not what they wanted, So when Jarrell got a chance to speak, and listen, he spoke his mind, and it's the truth. It's how he feels.
Yep.
He's not putting on a show.
No.
He's not like, you know what? Let me think about what I'm going to say, and if I attack this guy, it's going to sound good. No, he legitimately does not like Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, it's clear. And Anthony doesn't like him.
And Anthony doesn't like him. They don't like each other at all. But I do, and I'm not saying this because this is my guy. He's got Anthony Joshua's number. So he's in his head. He rents space in that man's brain.
Obviously, I've been watching boxing for basically on and off when I was in the military, but my whole life, all kinds of fights. I've never seen Anthony Joshua so rattled. Mm-hmm. Even it always looked like he was faking it. Anthony Joshua always looked faking, like, okay, fake tough guy, fake tough guy.
And then he gets stumped.
Yeah.
And he gets stumped and he can't talk and he just
he literally, But this was the maddest and most rattled I've ever seen him. Even when he's been knocked down, he got mad, walked out of the ring versus Usyk.
Yeah.
Like, this was real. This was real 100%. Anger. If anybody 100%. Who could read someone saw that and was like, wow, he's mad, and Jarrell's just sitting there with his glasses on. But hear me out. Jarrell needs to win. A lot of pressure's on Jarrell.
Fuck yeah.
The people are going to hate him because of the past. Do they think he deserved a third chance per se?
I don't care what people think.
Exactly.
Cares?
Who cares what they think? Because they gave it to him.
Yeah,
they gave it to him, and that's why I'm. Dude, is it right? Probably not. But without getting into the details, you're good. Is it right? Probably not right. But hey, if you're going to give it, don't hate the player. Hate the game. Yeah. He's not. Yeah. What is he going to say? No, I don't want this fight. Yeah.
So if you look at and I'll say this, and I'll be, I'll keep it 100%. If someone fails for big, huge shit, he wouldn't get the chances that Jarrell got, right?
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So just remember this, right? The first time Jarrell ever failed a drug test, we were in Croatia. Mm-hmm. He got called on 2 weeks' notice to fight Mirko Krokop in a kickboxing event.
Yep.
We weren't trained at the time. So he decides, let me take a scoop of C4.
Back in the day
when C4.
When it was, okay. Yeah. It's not an intensity
now,
product.
You guys look at C4 like it's mainstream and it's commercial now. Mm-hmm. But remember, C4 disappeared for a while.
Just like Jack 3D and all that stuff.
It had labeling on it saying, if you're going to be drug tested, do not take this. It had shit in there that would make you fail a drug test. We didn't know any better. It's in a fucking CVS.
Yeah.
He took a scoop before the fight, went out there, fought. Unfortunately, he got robbed. And then he popped on a drug test. And we had to bring in, we were like, what the hell? He wasn't taking anything. Mm-hmm. We brought in the C4. It was tested, and it was thrown out. But now, in the media loves bad news.
Of course.
So they'll rip you.
Of course. Especially now. And listen, I'm part of, because I'm a shitty podcast, right? I'm part of it. Like, they just take something and go and go and go and go and go. And that's what it is.
And then the moment you find out they were wrong, they'll just shut up. They won't say, listen, the same way we had a press conference and he failed, you should have a press conference saying we made a mistake.
Yeah.
Or the reason he failed was because of this product. No, they don't do that. They just say, oh, okay, never mind. No suspension. Like, why don't you make it known? You done ran his name through the dirt, right? But then when you realize that it was bullshit, you don't go out of your way to fix it. Same thing with Emmanuel Charr. Remember, Emmanuel Charr, who Jarrell was supposed to fight, he failed the drug test, and it was a wrongful they failed him, and it was a wrongful
findings.
So, now he's back and he's got the belt.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, yo, you basically failed me for something wrong. I missed out on making $12 million, and the belt was taken from me. Now I missed premium years of my boxing career because you made a mistake. But you're not going to come out and say, oh shit, we made a mistake. Oh my God, we're sorry, Emmanuel. We're gonna have to do A, B, and C to make sure we get. No, you don't do that. You fuck the man whole shit up.
Yeah.
And then you just leave it alone when you're found wrong. And I'm not saying Jarrell, he fucked up too many times, even in my eyes. I get mad at him all the time.
Yeah.
You know me. I'm very open and I'm very blunt.
So that was one of my questions for you, and we'll get to it in a little bit. But it was like this is a strength and conditioning coach, but it's not like Mickey and Rocky. You know what I mean? Where Mickey was more mentally getting in Rocky's head, and he'll fuck you up. Jamal,
I just don't. Yeah, exactly. Like Jarrell says, as big as he is, it's funny because whenever we have like press conferences and interviews and stuff, and he's like, "There's only two people in this world I'm afraid of." He's like, "My dad and that dude." And I'm just like, I mean, I don't ever want to go to blows over it, but sometimes it's like, yo, I just need you to understand what's going on.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he knows I'm open with it, and it's like if you fail for something that you didn't know, cool. But you can't go do it again.
No. So
and even if it's something stupid, right? You fell for a dick pill, right? Now, because you don't know what's in the dick pill and you took it, and then it comes in as GW 1516, which is like a SARM. You don't know no better. So then you shouldn't have done it again.
Yeah.
But he never realized.
Wasn't there something with like a shot in his elbow too, or
that was a cortisone shot? Yeah. We were in London right before, and he has a bone chip in his elbow.
Okay.
And every once in a while, in the middle of a fight, if you look back at the old fights, you'll see I'll grab his arm sometimes in the corner, and I'll kind of be trying to manipulate his arm because if the chip falls in the joint, his arm will lock. He can't fully extend it; it gets locked, right? And it was causing so much pain and inflammation.
Yeah.
So when we were in London with the management team that we had at the time, before we left to go to Florida to train, he was like, yo, my elbow's swollen. It's in pain, blah, blah, blah. They did therapy, and they gave him a cortisone shot.
Technically, yeah.
Because he didn't ask for it and call VADA and let them know, now it's a problem. So then he got a case of the shingles at one point.
Really?
During the training camp.
Yeah.
And because he was so worried, he didn't go and get medication. He had to call VADA. It took them 6 days to get back to us. So it's like, hold on, man. You want the guy to train and get ready for a fight. He has a cortisone shot in his elbow. It took you 6 days, and he had fucking shingles. So what happens if you're finding out that his elbow's aching him? How long is it going to take you to get back?
Yeah.
Now we're going to miss, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks of training because we have to wait for you to give the okay for something as small as a cortisone shot, and then you get mad at it? Like, come on. Listen.
So based on all that, based on everything you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you confidently say now he's back? We're good. He's
100%.
As far as you're
100%.
concerned, he's learned.
As far as I know, and I do believe, we're good. Like, I just left him right before we came here. We got a training session in.
Yeah, you should have brought him.
And he was feeling loopy. He was like, "Yo, man,
it's all good.
So I was like, all right, go ahead, go home." So, but he was just saying, he was like, "Yo, I just need to get all this shit behind me so I can move forward. This is a huge thing for me."
It's massive.
It's exactly how he sees it. This is his, whatever you want to call it, his last.
So like I said when we started this segment, technically to most people, majority, they're like, he doesn't deserve a second chance, and I'm giving benefit of the doubt because I like the guy. Mm-hmm. But I kind of can see why people would say that.
Yeah.
This is like, not only is it a shitter get off the pot fight for him and Danny Dubois, it's almost bigger for him.
Oh, it's bigger for him.
Way bigger.
It's definitely bigger for him. Like,
and being that, sorry, because I'm going to get to the next point. Being that there's basically only have about a month to get him ready.
Yes.
Ready. I know he's been in and out of the gym and stuff, but to really get him in fight shape ready, how, as the strength and conditioning coach, and let's get away from the other hoopla, what do you implement to get him ready in that short time frame?
Well, okay. I feel like a Mace intro talking about this is why I'm mad, right? Because this is what I tell every one of my fighters. Okay, I'm like, if this is your profession, you need to be professional about it.
Okay,
let's look at somebody on Wall Street, and if they're looking to make millions of dollars, they're working almost 7 days a week.
Yeah.
For umpteen amount of hours. They'll actually get a house.
They're doing blow to stay awake.
Yeah. They're doing drugs to stay awake.
Stay awake.
Just to do more work.
Yeah.
Right? They get an apartment close to their job. So.
Which also leads into other
of course.
issues.
Right? So I'm like, if they would work so hard, you as a professional athlete, the worst you should ever be is 75% of your best.
Huh.
I ask every one of my fighters, but every athlete, every one of my fighters especially, you should never, ever be less than 75% of your best. And the reason I ask for that is because the mechanism of injury, from me bringing you from 75 to 100, whereas where I want you to fight at 100%, is much less than if you're down at 30 and 40%. The majority of the training camp is all about getting you in shape. We can't focus on your skill. We can't fix anything that's wrong, anything that's broken, and we can't advance your skill. You're getting in the ring with a new person with the same skills.
Top tier level.
Everybody
who listens always hears me bring out the tiers. Top level.
I can't advance you. You're not getting in the ring better than the last you. And just like all the other podcasts I've done, you have to beat the guy from yesterday. You have to beat the guy today, because the guy tomorrow is the stronger guy. So if you're not advancing and you're not making changes and you're not getting better, all you're doing is people are looking at your tape and you're going to come in the ring the same person they've been studying. Just imagine you come in and you got something new in your arsenal. You're fucking unstoppable, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I never like my fighters to be out of shape.
Yeah.
Jarrell, for a period of time,
of course,
was very out of shape. And I don't like that. That shit makes me angry.
Yeah. I know. Extremely. I remember we were talking the last fight you saw. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
The Miami thing, whatever that was.
Yeah. So, but he's working now. Uh-huh. He's working. He's doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? And
what's the diet like? Is it strict? It has to be strict, right?
Well, he's going to do the juice cleanse with me directly after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
I'm starting him off on a juice cleanse for 5 days, right? Just to get his mental ready. We'll be training. The first couple of days, we're going to be training hard. Depending if he can handle it, we might have to pull back on the intensity for the last 2 days. But either way, it's a 5-day juice cleanse. That's what's going to jumpstart him. And I'm not doing it for weight loss. I'm doing it for his mind. Yep. And then he's going to be on a typical diet that I think would be best for him because of what his normal eating habits.
Yeah.
You know, he's going to have his 2 meals, high in protein, low in too much carbs, a couple protein shakes. You know what I'm saying? And he'll have his carbohydrates around his workouts.
Yeah, perfect.
You know what I mean? Like, we're just going to strategically place
he's never going to be skinny.
But
no.
And he doesn't want to be.
No.
You know, like,
cheeseburger.
I could show you pictures of us years ago when I was bigger than him.
Yeah.
He fought at 252.
That's crazy.
He hated it. Because the style of fighter he is, he's trying to stifle
pressure,
you, man.
Yeah.
He's a pressure fighter. He's in your kitchen. He slapped your dog. Your wife's sitting on his lap. She's wearing lingerie, and she's telling your kids stories. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the type of fighter he is.
And he can't bully
and
people.
he's disrespectful with
he
it.
can't bully people around when he's like.
So in that fight, especially when he was being pushed back and couldn't just stay on the fighter because the other guy was bigger than him, he's like, Jay, I don't like the way I'm feeling. I said, okay, let's strategically put on a few pounds. Mm-hmm. You're 252 now. Give me 262 for the next fight. Hold it. 262. He was like, okay. I was like, the moment your work output changes, we're dropping weight again.
Yep.
We'll go to 270. And sure enough, he kept rising, but his work output, I got to tell you, when he's on and he's like focused, the boy don't get tired, man.
No. That was what he was
known for. He holds one of the highest punch outputs of heavyweight boxers. He's out there, and he can go the distance. For you to feel, this is the most foolish thing I've ever heard of any heavyweight boxer when they're fighting Jarrell. I'm going to take him to deep waters and drown him. Okay, so he's averaging 78 punches around, 78 to 100 punches around at 300 pounds plus. You're going to take 7 rounds of punches.
And he has a chin.
And he's going to keep throwing punches, whether or not you're blocking or not. You're going to withstand 7 rounds of a beating from a 300-plus pound man that's throwing almost 100 punches around on you. Yeah. That's what you think, that's your goal? Good job, buddy. Good job. Good luck.
So it's all there. It's all there. Everything's the talk. He should be the biggest name from where he's from.
Oh my God.
Brooklyn.
Tell me about it.
Brooklyn,
Tell
New York.
Me about it.
Brooklyn, New York. You don't need the knockouts like Tyson. You don't need to be Brooklyn, New York fighter, right?
Yeah.
It's all there, and he's getting somebody up there loves him because they're just giving him another opportunity to put his name, his hat right in the mix. But this is also, which just kind of makes it more challenging for him, a shitter get off the pot for Daniel Dubois as well.
Yeah.
He's coming off 2 losses. He's known as a quitter.
I tell you right now, I feel it. That's what happened to him.
Yeah?
I really do. Me and Jarrell, I told you I just left him, but we were sitting in the gym. In between sets, we just chit-chatting randomly about, like, just the thought process and the mental.
He seems so nice, Danny. I kind of want to just.
He's too nice.
He's I like the guy. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
Great guy.
I'm not gonna lie to you. He's a nice guy. I actually felt bad for him.
Yeah, like
when Jarrell was up there ripping him.
He reminded me of like you take a kid from like a private school that moves to New York, right, with his family, and they throw him in like throw him in like a PS 113, whatever. He's like, what? Yes,
for the press,
I'm excited.
And the video shoots and everything, the photo shoots. He came into the room, and I'm sitting there. And I'm not one of those guys. You get some of the guys who are with other fighters, like in their team, and they want to like ice grill you.
Yeah.
They want, that's my opponent's
who
team.
Who the fuck's grilling you?
Nobody's. Yeah. I'm telling you right now, that shit ain't happening. Like, I'm already known for like I'll get right in your face. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm already known for that. So either way,
imagine. I'm just thinking.
He walks in. And he's just like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like,
well spoken.
I can't even be like, yo, man, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Man. And I'm not like that. I'm not that guy.
No.
But he's saying hello. I'm like, what's going on, man? How you doing? And my homeboy that was with me, he's like, yo, bro, he's too nice, man.
Yeah.
And
he's like a really nice
like,
guy.
You're really about to go in there with a dog, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hope you got a different mentality when you get in the ring, but he doesn't.
No. He's like a nice guy.
I don't know.
But he I'm sure his team is telling him too, like, because he has athletic ability. He's at that level, and obviously he lost to Usyk, and the
boy's good.
That last fight,
don't get me wrong, he's good.
With the body shot on Usyk,
yes.
And Joe Joyce made him quit. But what could he do? His eye fucking swelled up. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But he did take a knee and quit that fight as well. He's got to know that, like, I got to beat this guy. If I lose to Jarrell Miller, who hasn't fought, if you look at Jarrell Miller's past 3 fights, his recent fights, his tape, right?
Yeah.
He's got to be thinking, like, I got to beat this guy. If I lose to this guy, my boxing career it's pretty much over.
Yeah. Jarrell has not been, and I say it, and I told him, so it's not like I'm talking trash or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And Jarrell knows I love him to death. But his last few fights, he has not looked well. Doesn't look
No,
good.
he's just
and
not.
I said, homeboy.
You weren't there.
We got to step this up, man.
You weren't there.
You know, and but he's definitely bringing.
He needs to
something different.
Into the ring this time. The only thing the only negative really I could say is obviously getting in shape. Well, 2 negatives, I guess. Getting in shape in a month, like super shape, is tough to do. He could do it. His athletic ability is crazy, and the pressure, the mental pressure of
that part
is good.
Yeah, I think he's okay with, like, when it comes down to being. Jarrell functions best just knowing there's a fight on the table.
Okay, good.
When there's no fight on the table,
he's free to roam. That happens a lot.
Like,
a lot of fighters. Yeah,
he's just fucking.
They
all
need
over the
that.
place.
They need that.
Well, think about it though, right? And I try to tell this to people all the time because a lot of the guys I've trained, they're like, "Oh, yo, I saw one of the guys you trained. He was out doing this A, B, and C." You know, then they get on, Zab Judas from where I grew up. So it's like, yo, you used to see Zab in the clubs. I was like, yeah, but Zab used to come out and be in the clubs, but he wasn't drinking. He wasn't.
Yeah,
he's just one of the guys that's outside.
Smacking a titty or two.
He just wants to be outside. That's all,
Yeah.
But you got to remember, let's say you get ready to have a fight, a big fight. You got all the press conferences. You got 24/7, right? HBO. Right, they're doing all the interviews and
everything
and the shows
zone.
about you, right? And then every time you turn around, there's another billboard up with you. You're walking the street.
Yeah,
everybody's seeing you. They're running up on you. Fight night comes, crowd's going crazy. You going out there, your stomach feels like it's in your asshole, right? You're walking to the fucking ring. You get in there. You go through a battle. The crowd's going crazy. Boom, boom, boom. You win. Do people realize that by the time the fight's over, the last press conference that's over, all eyes are on you? Do people realize that once that's over, a lot of times, depending on the state you're in, your billboard is down by the time you leave the arena.
Who's fighting next week?
All of a sudden now,
the Knicks are coming tomorrow.
Nobody's crazy excited. No more interviews. No more love. No more. No, you know what I'm saying? Your coach is going their way because they got to focus on family and life, right? All of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. So they need something to keep that spark. That's
Yeah.
why some guys, some athletes that deal with that, they turn to substance, drinking, drugs, women, right? They need something to feel that same type of feeling.
So based on what you just said, I think what's kind of helping that mental aspect of it, right, that people don't see, the outside world doesn't see, and no one can feel it unless you're in there, is podcasts. Because these things blow up all over. You got weirdos like me, like, hey, man, come in my basement, I'll interview you. But it keeps that same, you know what I mean? It keeps this, because it shows you that people do, the fans do care. Like, I'm a hardcore boxing fan.
Yeah.
I'm in it 24/7. I'm stalking dudes. You know what I mean? Like,
you got a love for it. And you know what? The good thing about, see why I love doing stuff like this with like people like you is you have a love for boxing. You have a love for just combat sports. And the funny thing is you're respectable about it.
Yeah. I'm not going to come
in.
You know what I
mean?
Yeah.
And like a lot of the people that I know, and they're like, yo, you need to go on podcasts where you're going to be a little combative with people. I'm like, no.
Yeah. I'm not.
I definitely don't want to do that.
No.
But you have a love for it.
Yeah,
I just love about it. No matter what, even if you don't agree with something.
Of course.
Your approach on it is great.
And you know what I've noticed with podcasting is, listen, this is what I've done like 20 episodes now. Talking, it's really made me realize, like, I'll talk shit about a fighter I don't like, right? And then I'll meet him and be like, God damn, I was just talking shit about this guy. You realize, like, you become part of the problem, like just naturally, just talking. It's like barbershop talk. We're at a bar talking about boxing. Like,
certain things you can't help, right?
Yeah,
so you get a lot of times where it happens. Like when we first ever went to London, even before the Anthony Joshua
and then
fight.
After this, I want to ask you about what really happened behind the scenes there. Go ahead. I'll get there.
We're walking through the streets, and people are seeing him, and they want to come and take a picture. And he's taking pictures of everybody, and everybody's saying the same thing. Wow, you're actually mad cool. Like,
yeah, of course.
I kind of thought you were an asshole. I kind of thought you, and it's like, yo, I want you to win.
That's all.
I like you. You know what I'm saying? But prior to, what they see and what they hear is going to give them.
Of course.
Listen, look, for how long did I see the movie, what is it? A Few Good Men. And I despised Kiefer Sutherland because of his part in that movie. Mm-hmm. That means he's a great actor.
Yeah.
He did a great fucking job. But for a while, I would see him and just be like, oh, this fucking guy, this fucking dude. I hated him in that movie. But then you meet him in person, and you're like, yo, this dude is actually mad cool.
Yep.
Like, damn, I fell into my own like thoughts
over an actor.
And
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
He's doing his job.
Yep.
And I'm the one like a fucking dick.
Yeah.
I'm over here being like he's an asshole. Like he's just doing his job. But
listen,
what were you asking about?
So based off on let's backtrack. We talked about Jarrell Miller stole the fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
He went viral again. His first real famous for a good reason again, back in the limelight.
That's what I wrote on the post. I said, I hope you motherfuckers remember now why you loved them to begin with.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Forget about all the other stuff. And it is, whatever your opinion is, it is what it is. Canelo ate bad chicken. He's back in the game. It is what it is. Or beef, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. What really, did anything go on behind the scenes over there? Because Anthony Joshua was mad. He was actually mad.
So this is what happens. When we get picked up from the airport, it's either just a driver or security, and they literally like, listen, fellas, this is the detail that we get. If anybody is going to cause trouble,
I love this shit. I love this shit like that.
And in these groups, it's you dudes. Please don't do anything. And I'm like, listen, man, as long as you don't touch me, bro,
exactly.
I'm all set. If you put your hands on me, I got to tell you now, I'm apologize now.
Yep.
Jarrell will be like, listen, I'm out here. I don't like this motherfucker. I don't like that motherfucker. All I know is, and he'll just tell you, he's like, I'm not out here to start a fight, but I need to let the world know how I feel because they're going to ask me. If they ask me, I'm just going to let them know how I feel. Uh-huh. So we're out standing up. Everybody's like in this one room waiting to go out.
And these are heavyweights. You're a heavyweight. You're a giant. These are big dudes.
Oh, listen, I'm nowhere near them.
Yeah.
Those dudes are big. Like, they're big. And, but we're in a room, and you get this guy with his team, that guy with his team all over the place, right? There were 16 fighters there. So you're just hanging out. You're kind of just chilling. You're feeling the vibe. Every once in a while, it does get a little
Chippy, of course.
little
Talk.
chippy
The
back there,
more you talk,
talking shit.
yeah.
Like Anthony Joshua's got I think it's his cousin. He's a good talker. He can get under people's skin if you let him.
Mm-hmm.
And
the English in general tend to they have.
You got to remember, these motherfuckers got like 8 to 12 separate security with them. So they feel like they can say whatever the fuck they want. You know what I mean? Like, here we are, we pull up, it's just me and Jarrell and maybe one other guy. You know what I'm saying?
I'm riding with you guys.
Yeah.
Still. I don't
But
care.
it's like, you know what I mean? You come in here with a whole arsenal of people for what? You know?
Yeah.
And then when we start talking shit, you want to back down.
Mm-hmm.
But no.
So what happened?
It can get a little.
Did anything happen?
Testy?
No.
Nothing happened because
Okay.
security kept specific people
away
away from other people.
Okay.
That's what it was. They came in the back and they were like, "Listen, we were told to make sure you guys stay here." Like, okay, all the majority of fighters were coming into one room to get changed and for like a photo shoot. We were back there. Dubois was back there.
Such a nice guy. Such a nice guy.
Joseph Parker was back there, but Joseph Parker and Big Baby are tight,
Yeah.
So
They sparred. I
were
know.
back there. And all the guys, all the foreign fighters, Bivol, and we all just hanging out chilling.
Yeah.
But the only two people they didn't bring in back with us was Wilder and
Josh.
Joshua, and they kept them separate in 2 separate areas. They didn't even bring them together. So
I guess at the main event,
they kind of know. They just like,
the
listen, just don't let these 3 people right here just come at all times. Keep them away from each other. So there's going to be a photo shoot that they did that's going to come out to help promote this fight even more. They got Jarrell Miller sitting in the middle of the table, AJ, Deontay, everybody in between.
I'm gonna look for it.
They won't do it.
Yeah.
They won't do it. And it's just
That's stupid to me though, because if you want to promote it, you really want to promote it, right? A little pushing. I get. They want to protect the fighters. You don't want anyone to get hurt. 100%. You don't want that to happen, especially.
I will say, yes, the pushing is great, but
Joshua was. I'm not gonna lie. Joshua might have swung. He was really mad. He looked really.
He's been mad since the push.
Yeah, I read people. The minute his face went.
Yo.
I've never seen him like that. Ruiz knocked him down. Ruiz beat the shit out of him, right?
You get it with a smile.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, man. Like Usyk beat him the second time. He walked out of the ring, threw something, but it was so fake. It was like WWE. It was a shitty WWE wrestler.
Yes.
This was like pure. Like I was actually, and I don't. Not that Jarrell can't handle himself. I was a little worried. Like he's in England. I'm like, this dude's gonna do something stupid. Like he's mad, and he has people there. Of course he does.
Yeah. Well, I guess I got to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and say that doesn't cross my mind. I'm not I'm not stupid.
Yeah.
We aren't stupid.
Yeah.
We're not going to somebody else's backyard.
No.
With 2 people deep.
Yeah.
3 people deep, and looking to cause trouble.
No.
We don't go anywhere. Look, Jarrell, man.
Yeah.
He's a jokester.
Awesome.
You know what I mean?
Great
I'm
guy.
chill.
Yeah,
I'm
not doing anything.
We don't look for any of that. But at the same time, there's a respect factor we demand. And you cross the line, and who knows? But the security tends to keep.
Yeah, which is I guess I see why.
Guaranteed.
Damn, I was hoping you were like, yeah, he came back there. Fuck it. Nah, that's all good.
It's surprising. A lot of it didn't get as crazy behind the scenes that it did out there. Now, after the press conference, when it was over,
We got some tea.
No.
Oh.
No. We didn't. Jarrell didn't attack Deontay. So Deontay was chill the whole time.
Yeah, he said he was like, he spoke.
Yeah, and then he was mainly going after. The reason he didn't attack Deontay is because at one point in one room, our homeboy Kevin was with us, and he needed to get through.
Yeah,
and Deontay was standing by the door.
He's like, no. Deontay seems like I met him once.
As he's walking by, he went to say, "Excuse me," and he said, "Oh yeah, you with Big Baby? Go ahead, you good." And he moved out of the way, which I was like, I thought it was going to be some kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
No, that's good. He seems like Deontay seems like.
Yo, you know what? I ain't fucking with him today, man. Normally, I got to give it to him.
Yeah,
right?
he tweeted something like before he went out there about him.
Yeah,
but then
so he didn't go crazy with Deontay like he normally does. He went after AJ.
Yeah.
He just genuinely does not like that man.
So you got to remember too, like, listen, Jarrell had that fight and Jarrell lost that fight, right? It was on him. Think of what he went through mentally. I know he made the mistake, but we know that's a lot. That's a lot to come back from.
Man.
It's a lot to come back from, and you got to put that energy on someone, and you can't put it on anyone but him. Like that's the guy. That was the guy I had, and I think, you know what I think is going to happen, and then I guess we can move on or whatever. But Deontay and Joshua, right? Both of these fighters they're fighting are all wrong for them.
Yeah,
they're all wrong for them. Both of them. They could really throw a monkey wrench in this whole kit and caboodle.
Listen, I love Joseph Parker. Always have.
He could box.
Yes, he can. If Joseph Parker's in shape and he gets in Deontay's kitchen.
Listen, he's in the same team that the only guy that really beat the shit out of.
And remember, I don't really like to talk about people's like power and shit like that, but Tyson Fury's not known for having one-punch power.
Thank you. Jesus Christ.
Right? He's like Novocaine, man. He's going to keep tapping your face until your shit goes numb and swells up. And then, that's how he's going to win.
Lately, he's gotten better at power and distance, but he's not known for it.
His distance, I think, is actually great. The way he utilizes his boxing skill.
Leverage.
He's a great skilled boxer.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Footwork, like combinations, he's good, man. He utilizes his reach. Good. Joseph Parker got popped. So he gets in his kitchen and kind of smothers him, doesn't give him that distance that Deontay needs to throw that fucking right hand from hell.
And the layoff.
Yeah.
Wilder has one round. We talked about this almost 2 years now. One round.
So we'll see.
And then
we'll see what happens. And
what's his
Anthony
face?
Joshua
Versus don't tell me. Hold on. I'm having a brain fart.
So am I. What's his dude's name?
I was talking about him last episode. He's the only guy that gave Tyson Fury a run for his money. Most say he won that fight. What the hell is his name?
I'm forgetting his name.
I keep thinking Walsh, but it's not Walsh. We'll get there.
Oh, Whelan. Velen.
Wallen.
Yeah.
Yep.
The W they pronounce it like a V.
Yeah,
Velen.
exactly.
Yeah. So he's good,
and he's the only guy that people say beat Tyson. Like they
that
say
dude
he
is good,
clearly beat Tyson.
And he's tough.
Otto Wallen.
Yep. Otto, that's right. Yeah.
They both are skilled enough, and this is going to sound crazy, and this is a crazy take. I think Jarrell Miller helped Otto Wallen win that fight because Otto don't care. He's like, he's sitting right next to him, like, right next to Jarrell. Like, yeah, well, whatever, talk your shit. And you could tell Joshua was like visibly
bothered.
It was his mind wasn't there, and Wallen's coming to win. He's been technically, they say, robbed. That was the big cut Fury had. They say would have if anybody else but Fury, they would have stopped it. And I think you know what? If he does win, he's got to slide Jarrell a check. He's got to slide Jarrell a check.
Give a little bonus.
Yeah, because so now that you were in England, right?
Yeah.
Jet lag's a real thing.
Yeah. I don't like to fly to begin with.
Oh,
and the fight on the 23rd is in Saudi Arabia.
That's a whole nother entity of time zones.
I'm like, come on.
So
dude.
how, as a strength and conditioning coach, and let's get back to that. What's your technique on getting him ready for that? Because how long? When does he fly there? How long?
For him?
I'm
probably gonna try to get him out there 2 weeks before the fight.
Yeah,
to get acclimated with the time. Find out exactly too when they're gonna host the event, what time of the day.
Okay.
And then we'll figure out when he's fighting, and those are the days he's gonna have his hardest training sessions around that time.
Okay. In Saudi.
In Saudi.
Yeah. Okay. And that's probably for all fighters too, that they all do. I always wondered that though, because I was in Germany. When I landed there, I slept for 3 days straight because I was just so
it fucks up your whole schedule. It really does. We left.
Has he ever been to Saudi? Have you ever been to Saudi?
He's been to Dubai.
Okay.
I turned down going on that trip, which
I heard
stupid, but
all the fighters say they treat you like
kings.
You make a call, I want him here. Okay.
They really, really treat you very well.
That's what it seems to be.
Yeah, and the prince who's hosting that event loves Jarrell already.
Yeah.
He called him. He called him, and he's like, look.
So he was the most – so like when I noticed this, like people from other countries, they look at America a certain way. Like they see the personalities a certain way, like from movies and stuff. Even in Europe, they see like that's the way they – like me, I lived in Europe for 4 years. I thought it was like Euro trip. I'm like, damn, this absinthe ain't doing shit. What the? So like they see a certain, and Jarrell Miller has that character. He's that character they see, and him at that press conference.
He's a bigger version of Apollo Creed.
He's at that press conference. He literally just blew the top off.
Yep.
And listen,
And the Prince loved it.
Mm-hmm.
He says that's exactly what we need to make boxing big.
And so
in
did
Saudi
Eddie
Arabia.
Hearn. As much as they have their differences,
Oh yeah, they do.
Eddie Hearn was fucking.
He knows.
He saw
He knows.
Jarrell. He was like, cha-ching.
Like, all
He's
right,
like,
here we
yeah.
go. Here we go again.
Yep.
But yeah, that's gonna be a trip, big trip. I'm a little worried. I'm not gonna lie. You know, it's I don't want to miss Christmas.
Yeah. Is that when? Yeah.
It's fights on the 23rd.
23rd, yeah.
Granted, the 23rd here is the 22nd home.
Okay.
You know, the 23rd there is the 22nd here. So I'm hoping that right after the fight, I could probably just jump on the first flight back home and be home for Christmas. But
hopefully, you know what?
Yeah.
Hopefully he gets a dub.
He will.
Christmas is better for.
I'm not even.
Yeah.
I'm not even
Not
worried
confident.
about
I love it.
I'm not worried about it at all. Don't get me wrong. Before, when we're about to walk out, it's funny. I'm not a nervous energy person.
Mm-hmm.
So when I played ball, I wanted the game on the line with me being able to win.
And that's how you see that in your training techniques and stuff. It's like all mental.
Yeah.
This
Big
is
time.
this is it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I used to just live for it. And the only time I get worried, I remember it was actually a fight with Chris Weidman going out for Anderson Silva. I literally felt like I was going to shit myself. And the thing was, you asked me any time before that fight, I would have told you.
That crowd was.
People thought I was nuts.
That
They
crowd
were like,
was.
Jamal, yo, what do you think's going to happen? I know that's your guy. You're training him. I said, he's going to win. They're like, come on, man. It's Anderson Silva, bro. I said, he's going to win. Just watch. You know? So when we were walking out, I was like, yo, I think I'm about to shit myself.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with Jarrell. We're good. The moment they say, listen, you got 10 minutes. You got 5 minutes. All right, listen, roll on. I'm just like, fuck. All right, here we go. Because, you know, I've trained him for so many years.
Yeah.
He's like family to me.
Yeah.
I love the guy, like genuinely. Like he's like a brother to me. You know what I mean? So I can't see him get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to see him lose. You know what I'm saying? So when it's time, everything's out of my hands now. And I'm not going to say I'm a control guy, but I kind of am.
Yeah, but you like to be in control. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I don't drink alcohol and do drugs. I don't do none of that.
Yeah.
I like to have
Me
control
neither.
of myself at all times, right? And at that point, control's out the door, and I'm just like, yo, I hope we did enough. You know what I'm saying? I hope we did enough. I'm a firm believer in you as a fighter, as an athlete. You have to believe in your head that you deserve to win. And the reason you deserve to win is because you worked harder than he did, and you deserve it more. Now, if you know you bullshitted in the back of your head,
Of course,
it's going to come to fruition because when you start getting raped in there, you're going to sit there and be like, I shouldn't have went home early that day.
No.
I should have fucking put
Ate
those
them
extra
fries.
rounds. I shouldn't have did this.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have been hiding, sneaking food. I shouldn't have been. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
I'm a firm believer in that.
Does it? What do you think's harder? So, like you said, you brought up Chris Weidman. What's his name? Valant. You train as well. Yeah.
Vellante, Ali Quinta.
Yep.
Eddie Gordon, Drago, Pete Sell. A little bit of Costa Philippou.
That's awesome. Is it harder with like a heavyweight? Would you say? Or
I wouldn't say it's harder. It's just a little bit different. Heavyweights don't have to make a weight cut.
okay.
Oh,
that's
well,
true.
in UFC, some heavyweights do. But in boxing,
Yeah,
heavyweights don't have to make a weight
you just got to
cut,
make
so
sure they're in shape.
They just got to, if you're going to come in heavy, you got to be able to move.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And
So you're
I
saying
don't
it's
want him
easier
the way
then?
he
It's
is.
a little easier because
they're heavyweights?
the weight cut,
'cause
obviously.
it's only easier because the weight cut is something separate in itself.
Yeah, it's a
and they
whole
don't have
other
to do
entity.
that. There's a lot of water loading coming with it,
Yeah.
specific diet, like, playing with electrolytes, and that's dangerous too. You fuck around with somebody's electrolytes in the wrong way, they can have a heart attack. So, you're trying to dehydrate somebody so they can just make a weight.
Yeah,
And then your thing is to be able to hydrate them properly so that they can replenish to be able to fight. You know what I mean? So it's easier if someone doesn't have to do that whole part.
Man, if any fighters are listening and you're in the metro area, come to my guy.
And it's funny. I don't really push.
No, I know.
that
I never see I was
as much. Like I'm kind of quiet. Like I've had other trainers. They're always like, "Yo, I see you in the gym. Like, why don't you post this on Instagram?" I'm like, if you had a fighter, and he's fighting my guy, and I post what I'm doing on Instagram with my guy, You're telling me you're not going to look and try to break down faults and break down weaknesses? That's what I do.
Yeah, that's what I do. If I look at a workout. I look at a workout. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Exactly.
Let me do that.
We broke down Anthony Joshua and his weaknesses 2 days in. Once we knew we had a fight, I'm like, yo, his right leg sucks. He can't push off. I think it's a weakness in his hip. And we were like, yep, this is exactly the strategy right here.
Stiff as shit.
And all because people post videos of what they're doing all the fucking time. I like to think that there's a little bit of intimacy in the one-on-ones about training somebody, and I'm always going to keep it that way. If you're looking on my page to try to find cheats against my guys, you're not going to do it, okay? Not at all. You know, I trained Curtis Martin as well. It's like, you're not going to do shit. When he was balling, you're not going to sit there and know anything about Curtis's training.
Great guy. Curtis is a great guy.
Wonderful. It's my homeboy. Yeah.
Awesome. He lives in I won't say it. He lives in near Long Island where we meet.
He's been there for a long time. He's got a new house. So
we'll talk after.
Salted Earth. He's a great guy. Great dude. But
he's still in shape too, Curtis Martin. Shout out to my Jets. We need him. Yeah. Shit. We need him at quarterback. Put Curtis Martin at quarterback.
That's the truth.
But that's good. So we're all in on Jarrell. I was trying to get some nitty gritty stuff out there.
Yeah, you can ask away.
What other sports do you train? It doesn't have to be pro. Every sport.
Okay, so I was just telling this story earlier today. I had a female dancer come in, not a stripper. A female dancer come in. I
was gonna say,
and
Melissa's
she
asleep.
was like an Alvin Ailey type. Yeah, right. Alvin Ailey type dancer. And she's like, have you ever trained a dancer before? And I said, no, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't sell dreams.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I haven't. I was like, well, what's the issue? What do you need? She's like, well, I need this, and that. I said, well, I can help you with the basics as far as just the strengthening part. There's a lot of movements in dancing that is not like anything in any other sport.
Yeah, like those joints.
So when it comes down to the fine-tuning of it, I'm not going to be able to help you. I can't look at a video of you dancing and know what's right or wrong.
Yeah.
Right? But if you give me a football, a basketball, a baseball, a track star, even hockey, swimming, whatever it is, I can break it all down and figure out where the weaknesses stem from, what needs to be worked on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where we can, if it's a time thing, where we can cut time. If it's a strength thing, how we can build. You know what I'm saying? So I do train a lot of athletes. I don't stick to just one type of athlete. I love training athletes because I get a chance to really push someone who has a desire to be pushed, and you can actually see all your work come to light.
Yeah.
Right? Like you can just beat the living shit out of athletes, and they take it, and they come back for more.
Because they're like, it worked.
And then when you see them go play and perform, it's just like, fucking work.
It's my guy.
My God. And I love it. Don't get me wrong. All my regular clients, I'm not, I love you guys too, but...
You might throw up. You might throw up, but
yeah, just to be able to just pound like hard work into a human being. And what's helped me a lot throughout the years, how I've gained my clientele, especially the professional athletes, they see me work out, and I work out with them. So that's my favorite. That's my favorite line to all my athletes. I'm like, yo, don't let this old nigga beat you now. Don't do it. Come on now. Don't let me beat you. I can't beat you. You can't let me beat you. If I beat you.
Yeah, but you're beating everybody. But, I've seen you work out. You're beating
everybody. They're like, oh, it's a competition now. And any athlete is competitive. So, I get a good push out of them. And a good like hard effort out of them for that reason. But that's what helped me gain a lot of those athletes.
Basically, you are a pro athlete to the fullest. Like you are a pro athlete.
Well, I wish.
No, but like
you're not injuries, but yeah.
But you're like you know what I mean. Like physically, mentally, you have that pro athlete stature, right? Like D1 sports. We'll say. You know what I mean? Like you're there. Have you ever? I know you were a kickboxer. Have you ever sparred other champions or other pros that you beat the shit out of? And we're like,
okay, so I'll put it this way.
Or even back in the day, obviously.
I mean, me sparring back in the day, I beat the shit out of a lot of people, but I
love it. Yeah.
That sounds fucked up. But
it sounds great.
As far as me getting in the ring with other professional fighters to help out, I've never went 100% against another professional.
You've controlled it.
Because I'm a coach, right?
At the end of the day, you're a coach.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now I'll tell you a story too, like about take Weidman for instance.
Mm-hmm.
We get in the cage one day to fool around before Anderson Silva.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, you know the fight's coming close. He's getting a little, and it just didn't just happen to me. It's getting a little close, so your nerves are.
Of course,
and Chris had a lot riding on that.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of behind the scenes things, and
he's also mentally like. If he's not fighting, he needs to be fighting. He's the same.
Yeah. So you could see that he was on edge. And Ray was like, I want you to get in there. First round.
Ray Longo, yep.
Yeah. Lead hand sparring only. Second round, we're just going to use the crosses, uppercuts, blah, blah. And he's just dissecting movement, right? And before I go in, he's like, Jamal, I want you to try to dance around, mimic Anderson Silva a little bit, right? Let's see if we can try to frustrate him a little bit. And sure enough, he gets mad and he fucking kicks me in my balls.
Like straight up.
Straight up.
On purpose, no doubt.
Well, I want to say that he was trying to get a little inside.
You're in there.
Kick, but he kicked my balls and I went down. And I look up like this and he looks like he's throwing an overhand right coming down on me. I kind of just barely get out the way or whatever. Ray starts screaming, jumps in or whatever. He bounces out the ring and he kind of goes in the back to just calm down or whatever. One other kid, he just started stomping him and then took off and ran out of the gym.
Wow.
He got mad. Mm-hmm. He got angry.
Chris.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
that's it happens.
It is.
It happens.
It is.
How'd you not get mad?
What?
You didn't. You just.
I was just trying to make sure I felt my balls again. I didn't put a cup on. I didn't have a cup on. I didn't think we were going to end up going.
Yeah, you didn't
to that
know.
extent. I didn't even have a cup on or nothing. So
wow.
I was down. But anyone else, I would have been livid.
Yeah.
I don't care, mistake or not, I would have been livid. But knowing what he was going through mentally and what was riding on everything, I was like, yeah, I get it.
See that?
I understand.
That's why you're a pro. That's
you know what I'm saying?
That's pro.
So
that's pro shit
like,
right there.
Chill, you know. But
anybody else kicks him in the balls, I'd like to see that though. Yeah, let's just put that out there.
I had a guy one time. This is a fucked up story too. I still have the rib head that pokes out right here. So he calls me up. He's like, Jamal, you know, Ray told me to call you and ask if you can come in and spar with me and get me ready for my fight.
Is he a name? Is he a name guy? Or?
Nah, he was
okay.
Actually, he did end up turning pro in kickboxing, but I don't think he ended up going anywhere with it.
Okay.
But he ends up, I said, no, I'm busy today. I can't do it. He's like, please, you know, he really was telling me, like, I really got to give you a call. I'm like, you know what? All right, I'll come down. I can only get like 5 rounds in with you, bro. I don't have time. I get there, and he's like, you know, I really think that Ray doesn't like me. I'm like, why? He's like, because, like, you know, I got a fight coming up in like 2 weeks, and he wants me to spar with you. I feel like he wants me to spar with you so he can fuck me up, and I don't want to fight anymore. And I'm like, what? I'm like, dude, that's not what this is about.
It's alert. You're getting ready.
2 things. That's not what this is about.
That's done. I don't like this guy already. I don't know who he is. I don't
2, if I beat your ass and you don't want to be a fighter no more, you shouldn't be here to begin with.
No.
If that's how your thought process is,
No.
you shouldn't be here. But I'm not coming here to beat your ass. I'm coming in here to give you work. And the truth is, fighters right before they fight, technically, you put them in sparring that with people that they can kind of beat up on a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate to say it that way,
no,
but
that's true.
you got to now, once again, you're working the mental.
To work,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So sure enough, I'm going in there, and I'm only going 50%. I'm not going hard on this guy.
And it was a phone call. You're like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we get in there, first round's going, you know what I'm saying? I'm holding my punches. I'm landing combinations and stopping at the end, letting them know, like, oh, you got to keep that hand up, whatever. We're moving around.
And you're
Everything
talking in
seems
there.
cool.
You're talking in there.
Yeah. I'm doing it, but then I'm like, oh, you got to be careful like this. And then, you know, I'll go over something, and then we'll get back into it. It was 2 rings going on at the same time, 2 bells. I could tell maybe he was getting a little frustrated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The one bell went off, and I thought it was our bell. So whose bell is that? And I literally backed up. I was like, whose bell is that? Is that our bell? And he kicked me right in my shit and broke my rib.
Yeah.
Bro, let me tell you right now. Man, I would have killed that man. Oh, my God. So I literally like, and then our bell went off, and I'm like, that's our bell. And I went back, and I'm like, this motherfucker. I was like, I'm in here trying to help him. Now, here we are. I'm sitting down in the corner, and I'm like,
it's like a fight now.
I'm trying to help this dude.
Like
I'm
the
here.
11th round.
I didn't even want to come in here. Here we go. And I'm like, my fucking rib.
You're breathing. You're
like this. I'm like, I got 1 more round left. I'm like, yo, you know what? I got to change stances because I can't lead with this side because my ribs fucked up. Change stances. Went in there. I just basically put a little beating on him for 1 round with the last round.
You took that round.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck it. I need this one for me. And then Walked out, went right to the doctor. And my shit, it still pokes out.
Yeah.
It'll never go all the way back in, but.
You ever talk to that guy again? Was there any words? Or?
I actually just saw him a couple months ago.
Did you fucking just kick him like in the grocery store? You're just
No,
like,
I wouldn't do that.
Let me get one.
He was actually very like apologetic afterwards,
Okay.
but whatever.
No,
in the heat of the moment, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like one of my friends says, you met Ed the other day, Big Ed.
Oh yeah, big dude. Yeah.
So he's a heavyweight fighter, right?
Yeah.
Ed is a phenomenal athlete.
He got a personality too. You got to get him.
He's great.
Like I said, the heavyweight division's pretty.
He's the man. I love Ed. So he'll tell you, I'll spar with anybody. You could be 130, 350. I don't care. The energy you give me is the energy I'm going to give you.
True.
This is sparring. We're supposed to learn.
Yep.
So if I feel like you're trying to take my head off, I'm going to do the same.
Of course.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
in sparring. That's what it's for.
That's exactly how I am.
That's what it's for.
That's exactly how I am.
And there's no glory in beating like
for what?
Like yeah, okay,
for
cool.
What? To then end up saying he's my teammate?
They always have like I used to move. They called me the punch dummy. I'd move around with the young kids at Native Boxing, and it was fun though but the coach trusted me in a sense where like
he knows there's no malice.
Yeah, I'm not gonna turn it off. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you have to remind people like.
Well, you got to touch them sometimes.
Don't just and don't just challenge anybody because not everyone's as nice as me. Gym etiquette is like a big thing.
Huge.
And I'm sure it's the same for MMA. It's a huge thing. And MMA guys too are. I feel like they're a little more cocky. I don't know. in gyms, like they're like, I don't know what it is.
I think if
cocky. Cocky is not the word. Like I can't think of the word. It's like I don't want to say arrogant. I can't think of the word. What it is. I guess not overly confident, but
I want to say this, and I don't know how it's going to come out, but think about it as a man, right? And let's say you're ranked within the top 10 in the world. Do you know what that sounds like? You're the top 10
in the world. That's awesome.
In your mind, which I love this mentality, you don't have to have, it doesn't have to show and ooze out of your pores, but you walk around thinking, can't nobody beat my ass.
I'm the top 10 in the world.
I'm the shit. And as a professional athlete, you have to think you're the shit. Because if you don't feel that way to an extent, and it's not about being pompous, it's not about being conceited, it's about being confident.
Pompous, maybe that was the word.
If you don't, pompous is a good word, and that's what I was going to say when you said it, but it's not necessarily about that, but just think about it. I'm not conceited because I wanted the game on the line with me being able to win it. I'm confident because I was the one waking up 3 o'clock in the morning. I was running. I was swimming. I was working out. I had a job. I trained 3 times a day. I deserve that. So, guys, sometimes, I feel like you have to feel like you deserve the win. And if you're putting in the work, you deserve to be good. You deserve to be looked at as that guy. Yeah. And I feel like that's how some of the guys, if they're doing well, that's how they feel.
Okay, yeah, I can see. And that at Law MMA or Long, whatever it's called now, Longo's Gym. Yeah. I popped in there here and there, and I always got that weird. I got looks like, who the fuck is this guy?
Well, I will say this about that gym, right?
It's like
if you're trying to get the fundamentals down and the mindset of a fighter, that's a great gym.
Okay,
it's a great gym. When you need to advance and become like something else, I think you might have to step out and go somewhere else. But
it's like that for a lot of gyms, though. There's gyms everywhere.
But they're great over there.
Yeah,
Ray is great. Eric is great. Great mindset, but it's a small group there. So when you walk in,
that's what makes sense.
Who's this dude? Remember, that gym was closed down for a long time.
Yeah.
They don't even do classes and all that stuff anymore like that. So when you're coming in, it's like you're either coming in for sparring or you're coming in to see someone specific, right?
Yeah, I was just like, hey,
if you're coming in for sparring, if you're coming in for sparring, everybody's sizing you up. Everybody. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, yo, who the fuck's this right here? All right, what we got? Oh, you got some big legs. All right, let's see what's going on. You know what I'm saying? That's
with and we'll close it. We'll wrap it up soon. I just have a few more questions. Like I know the boxing sparring. I know the boxing. I'm not so big in the versed, I'd say, in the MMA sparring and stuff. Is there like when you spar in MMA, like, hey, we're gonna do 5 rounds or 4 rounds, whatever it is it like full on grappling too, everything, or is it?
Well, yeah. There's different.
Like boxing, there's levels. One sparring. It's like
yeah,
we're boxing.
So when you're doing MMA, some days you could do just kickboxing. Some days you could focus on hands. But majority of the time, if you're sparring
everything.
for real for MMA, you're doing everything.
Everything.
You're doing it all.
It's awesome.
Only thing that makes it difficult to grappling is if you're doing it all and somebody's getting ready for a fight, you are trying to wear pads as well as regular gloves.
To wrestle
so now
with
with
the pads.
grappling, it's kind of hard,
Yeah.
right? So that takes away a little something. But if you really want to know the truth, if you're wearing gloves and you're doing takedowns and jiu-jitsu and wrestling, you can't grab with the gloves. It teaches you some serious pressure as a wrestler. Like, I'll tell you one thing. I've had a couple of my cousins. I'm the little guy in the family. Everybody's huge.
Imagine that.
I wrestled with a couple of my cousins. I used to bring them down because I needed bigger bodies when I was kickboxing with Chris and Ray and everybody over there. And one of my cousins is 6'6", 368 pounds. He's a massive dude, you know. And I'd rather have him on top of me trying to choke me out than Weidman. Weidman on top of me trying to get position and trying to choke me or search for a submission felt like the most stifling feeling I've ever felt.
And he's smaller than you.
And he's smaller than me.
Wow.
But the pressure he's learned how to use through wrestling.
With no hands, basically. That's
exactly.
crazy.
Is phenomenal.
I love I love the science. They always say boxing, the science behind every combat sport. It's awesome. Yes. I just hope that this fake rivalry, like I'm not here. There's no rivalry between MMA and boxing, and anyone that thinks that
everybody has a place, man. I don't understand why
it's
it has
like
to be like
when
that.
I see that, I'm like, will you just stop? Will you just stop? I was just at a fight, and it was Dana White's fighter, Calum Walsh, King Calum, they call him. Thursday night, awesome time.
Yeah,
and Dana White's there promoting a boxer.
Yes.
So they have to remember, at the end of the day, Dana White is a dual promoter. He promotes MMA and boxing. MMA is obviously his baby.
Yes.
But he's promoting both, and he's promoting a pro boxer at a sanctioned boxing event with real fighters and real boxers. He doesn't hate boxing. And
exactly.
It's like, and I've chatted up with Ray Longo and all of them, and they don't hate boxing. Like the real people. Like, it's so weird to me. I guess it's their version of casual fans.
It's casual fans that's going to try to cause the controversy and talk the shit.
Like me and you built a friendship. You're more into obviously UFC, MMA.
Well, I mean, honestly, I just
kickboxing as well.
Combat sports, I love overall.
Yep.
I've had way more MMA fighters than I've had boxers as far as clients. My love, what I like to do, is kickboxing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's I talked to you about boxing, and there's no. It's not like, fuck your sport. No, it's so stupid to me. That's just.
From a skill level, it's one thing, but from a mental standpoint, all sports are the same.
Yeah, they're at that level.
Well, all individualized sports and team sports. Those are two different types of things, right?
Yep.
Individualized sports and team sports. The mentality is the same for team sports. The mentality is the same for individualized sports.
And that's it. You heard it.
Yeah.
From Mr. Intensity himself. How many times do you work out today?
3.
What the fuck?
I did a little cardio in the morning. I hit the weights around 12:30 today, and
do you really not sleep? Up. Like, when do you?
I don't sleep much.
What's your average? You have
hours.
to 2 hours a night.
I get like 2 hours a night. Yeah.
You nap?
No, I don't nap at all. My first client is 4:00 in the morning. I'm up at 3:15, and like tonight, like every other night. What time is it right now?
It is 11:09.
11:09. I'm probably not going to bed till probably 1:00 in the morning.
And you're up at
3:30, and I'm up at 3:15. Every day.
This is
the funny thing is, if I get 4 hours or more, I feel like absolute trash.
Too much sleep.
My body feels broken. Like I feel like I'm like.
So does jet lag affect you? Like, how does that?
Well, the funny thing is, I don't like to fly. I'm not afraid. I just get queasy, motion sickness. The flights out to London. Luckily, I'm in first class, so I can stretch out my legs and I can actually get. It's not 100% comfortable, but fairly comfortable. Yeah. And
rest your eyes at least.
I'll doze in and out of sleep. But if I know I don't have anything to do, like this trip was 7.5 hours to get there.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I got on the plane. They took my menu order and all that stuff, and I literally just put the seat down and I dozed off for like maybe 2 hours. Got up and watched movies the rest of the way.
Yeah.
On the way home, that trip was very fast.
Yeah.
So we left First thing.
I remember you texted me, and I was like, oh, shit.
First thing.
It's like I'm out tomorrow.
Yeah. Was it Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday morning we left. So we got there Tuesday night. Went to the supermarket and got some food. Went back to the hotel. Woke up at 6 a.m. the next morning. At 7 o'clock, the car service came to get us. We went, did videos, photo shoots, and didn't get back to the hotel. And the press conference, didn't get back to the hotel till 1 a.m.
Your body must have been
shot. And then the next
bro.
morning, we left at 6 a.m. to get on the plane to come back.
So the ride home, you racked out.
No, I thought I was going to sleep.
Yeah.
I end up watching the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy on the plane.
It's why, like, oh, man.
I'm like, I've never seen this movie. Let me see what this is about.
It's a good
All of them, there's 3 of them, and they're like 2 hours, 2 hours, and 3 hours. Perfect.
You know what I do on plane rides, long plane rides like that? It's like my thing. You know how your phone, you screenshot, take a picture, screenshot. I go on, I have thousands of pictures, just frivolous pictures, and whenever I take a plane,
you clean them out?
I'll put a movie on, and in the background, and I just delete every picture.
I'm going to do that.
Every fucking picture. Because, you scroll.
A shit ton of
like messages you sent to this guy, that guy, screenshot.
That's a great idea. I'm going to do that next trip. And it's going to be 14 hours worth, so I'll... So that's
I
have anything in my phone by the time I land.
That's good though, because these phones now, it's literally it's like a new wallet. We're lost without our phones and pictures, everything. I don't type. I take a picture and send it.
Yes.
Take a picture and send it.
Yes.
And it's a good time to do that. There's my little training insight to Mr. Intensity
I'm
himself.
telling you right now, I'm going to do it.
Strength and conditioning.
I'm going to set myself as soon as I get on the plane. I'm going to get my legs all stretched out and pull out my phone. I'm just going to start deleting.
So he doesn't have to go to bed, but I do. Thanks for chopping it up, Mr. Intensity himself.
My man. It's a pleasure.
Anything you want to shout out? What round you got? Obviously, you're going for Jarrell. What round you got him stopping? 4?
Yep.
4th round.
Yep.
It's a 10-round fight or 8?
12.
It's 12?
I believe so. See?
Heavy 12 rounds. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're going to have Jarrell ready for 12?
Yes.
12 rounds. There it is. Mr. Intensity himself, thank you.
My pleasure.
As always.
My brother.
We'll close it out with that. We've talked enough. We've talked about almost everything. Buy his products. Shout out your website.
IntensityLabs.co. C-O.
And his pre-workout, it's also like a little bit of a Viagra. So it'll help you with multiple reasons to keep you going. I've tried it. It's good.
Good stuff.
All right. Take care, y'all. We're out. The Spar-Inn Boxing Podcast. Follow us on everything. Instagram, all that shit.